Hi, welcome to Hope in the Light of Suicide. I'm Tammy, and I'm your host and the founder and CEO of the Bobby White Foundation. Thanks for joining us. It's been crazy. We were off last week because John and I needed well-deserved vacations. He went on one cruise, I went on another. But we're back. So I want to thank him, of course, and Area 52 Media Group uh, for letting us do this. So, if you want to do your own podcast or TV show or whatever you want to call it, get a hold of John Gaston at Area 52 Media Group. Also, I want to thank our sponsor, Delynn Gaston, with the mortgage firm, Everything Mortgages. I'm seeing a lot of houses for sale in my neighborhood, or even just land. So, um, I don't know what's going on with the market, but she does. And I want to now bring on and thank our newest sponsor, Tammy White Galleries and Custom Framing. Whatever that is. But Tammy White Galleries is the only independent custom frame shop in West Pasco and many years of experience. So that's good. We need more sponsors. So if you want to be brave and help sponsor our show, you're going to be more than welcome here. So I know it's the holidays and things are really kind of busy, but we are still having our support groups. So our next groups are for the December support groups, and Spring Hill will be January. I got November. I got the wrong one here. Uh, December 10th in Spring Hill at the NAMI Hernando office at 6:30, and Newport Richey, West Pasco will be December 18th at the Oasis Coffee Spot at 6:30. You don't have to register to join us. If you're unsure, just email me at info@bobbywhitefoundation.org and we'll get you the information. I'll even send you that flyer if you want. So, and it is on the website too. So, we are going to have our groups. So, just before we went on vacation, we had our first official walk. And I want to thank our sponsors for that. We ended up with some last minute sponsors and vendors per se, but we want to thank the Alliance for Healthy Communities, Pasco ASAP, for sponsoring our DJ Blue Bloods. She did a tremendous job. It was great. I'll talk about it later because we're going to talk a lot about the walk, and we got some photos and stuff. But I also want to thank Chris Picano. He was actually our first sponsor that came on board, and he had a table there, and it was great. It was a really really good morning. So it's important to have these sponsors, and also a huge thanks goes out to the city of Newport Richey and the Parks and Rec. I mean, they did really, considering things kind of got a little wonky just prior to the walk. Things really fell into place and just really worked perfectly. In the past years, we have these big TV monitors on it where the amphitheater is, and over the years with the Out of the Darkness walk, we have tried to have different things happening on these monitors, and only 1 year did they work properly. So the day before the walk, which I didn't think it was going to happen because all this happened just like within a couple days. We Kevin from Parks and Rec, I met him down at the park, and I had a sample of video slides that I wanted, and just to see if it was going to work, because the walk was like the next morning early. So he brought 3 guys from all the technical areas and stuff and plugged it in, and they're like, yeah, it works. So I said, okay, I have a couple more things I want to add to it. I'll run back to the office, get it. And in the meantime, while I was doing that, they were working on a way where all I had to do was take the slideshow to Kevin at Parks and Rec that afternoon. This was Friday afternoon. The walk is first thing the next morning. He plugged it into his computer and sent it to somewhere, and they did something. And he says, okay, we're all set. It should turn on about 7 o'clock. He said, we'll run it from 7 until noon. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So we're getting all ready, and I get up Saturday morning, and I go down to the park, and I get there like way before everybody else. I was supposed to meet Cindy, DJ Bluebuds, at 6:45. So I was down there about 6:30, and actually, it's the only time that I liked the time change, because it was just about sunup, not quite sunup. So I went and I sat on the steps of the amphitheater, just looking out into the park. I mean, it was just so surreal, and I just sat there thinking about how we pulled this off in just a few months, but still yet not knowing what was going to happen in a couple hours. But the morning was beautiful. The sun was coming up. And like I said, I was just sitting there just kind of just taking it all in. And about 10 minutes later, and I kind of walk out into the middle area of the park where the amphitheater is. And I walk back, and I could tell they had the monitors running. They I guess I pretty much run them a lot with whatever their stuff was. But I could tell that it had changed. And I looked up, and there was our stuff. It was like 20 minutes to 7. And I just kind of stepped back and walked backwards into the park to just look at it. And it was running perfectly. It was just so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, this is real now. It was amazing. It was amazing. And people started to show up. Cindy came and was setting up, and I had pretty much most of my stuff set up by the time the volunteers got there and stuff, and they helped finish setting stuff up. And actually, we had more volunteers than what I had jobs for them, which was amazing. I have some amazing friends and business people that have known for years and friends with, and it was just really cool. And the night before, I was just getting ready to send out a email to our vendors, reminding them, what time to be there, and to make sure that their chairs and tables didn't have any sharp edges, like the feet on them, the bottoms, because the city had put in a couple of years ago AstroTurf in this big area, because it had just over the years had just been too, especially with the storms that we have, to maintain that area with good grass. And the AstroTurf has worked tremendously well. And I get a phone call and from a gentleman. I think his name is Jason. I hope I don't get it wrong, but I am not going to pronounce the name of his karate school, because I know I'll get that wrong. But it is KMMA. But anyways, he called and he wanted to know if he could be a vendor. And I was like, sure. And I said, this is how much it is if you're for profit. And he goes, yeah, I'm for profit, and that's no problem. And so while he was on the phone, so some animal go running by, he went on and registered while we were on the phone, and super nice guy. So he shows up the next morning, Saturday morning, and this is after I have my aha moments and stuff. And he's the first vendor there, and it's super nice guy. So I told him where he can go set up, and then he got all set up, and then he comes back over, where can I help? And so I gave him another job, and he had brought a tent, but where the vendor set up, we already have these like pavilion kind of like things in that circle area of the park. And you can see all these pictures on the Pasco Walk for Hope 2025 Facebook page. And our photographer, Jay David, did a tremendous job. But anyway, so Jason, he's like, well, I have this tent. And so he ended up putting his tent up so that our volunteers had shade. I mean, it was just, everything was just so amazing. Jay David did an awesome job photographing the event, documenting it for us. Sometimes when I think about it, I just don't even really know what to say. But anyway, so we have a few pictures, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about each one. We had some great teams. This is the first picture, and the pictures that Jay David sent us, this is the first picture that he put. So of course this is me up on the stage, but look in that little keyhole, which this is a part of that keyhole is the design of the amphitheater. But he put a picture of Bobby in that keyhole. It's really not my favorite picture of Bobby, but it is a picture of Bobby. So I just thought, when I saw that and I showed that to a couple of people, I was like, oh, look at this. This is so cool. But and up there above my head, that's one of the monitors that they have. They're huge, and they were just so nice and clear, and went through a cycle of some stuff that we had on there. It was just really, really neat. And I don't remember, I think I may have mentioned it a little bit on the last show. We had Mitchell High School National Honor Society. They have participated in the other walks in the past, and they at first they didn't see our walk, and the instructor called me and asked me about it, and because they had begun to register for a walk in another county, and she remembered me from the other walks, in the last couple of years past. And so she's like, okay, we're going to pull out of the other county. And they formed a team for our walk. They had about 25 Honor Society kids registered for our walk. They showed up. They were just so awesome. They helped out after the walk, collecting the signs. They were just so polite. And so, because they had the largest team, we let them lead the walk, and they were just elated. They were besides themselves. I received an email from their instructor a few days after the walk, and they just had great things to say about the walk and how they're looking forward to participating, in the years going forward. And it was just, they were just great kids, and they came up, what can we do to help? And they were just really, really good, but they were so excited. And it'll be closed by the time, well, maybe I'll keep it open until Sunday. But the day there's them walking through the park, that's them leading the walk. And a couple days after the walk, somebody donated to their team, because I've kept the donation link open. And so now, not only did they have the largest team, but they were the team that raised the most funds. So they're just super excited about that. It was just nice, and gosh, it was just such a beautiful day. It was just gorgeous. Everybody had a good time. It was about 3/4 of a mile. It wasn't a long walk, and even a couple of my friends who are also in my Rotary Club were there, and one of them, Carol and her daughter Becky, came down, and Carol had that's everybody at the end. David making everybody do goofy stuff. Not quite everybody, but that's a lot of the people at the end. It was just cool. But at the end of the walk, when everybody came back into that area where the amphitheater is there, the what you call it? We were getting ready. Oh, you're pulling more pictures off of there. These are the pictures that are on the site. That's Jason. That's with KMMA, the karate school. There's just, it was just truly amazing. I mean, I was just kind of blown away. My nephew and his family were there. One of my sister-in-laws. But that's Chris, who was our and Kelly and me. We're just, I mean, and Val helping off at my table, and I mean, I mean, seriously, it was just an amazing experience. There at Premier Health Care Clinic, they had probably the second biggest team and are right behind the school for funds raised. It was just, yeah, it was an amazing experience. And afterwards, everybody was so excited and so happy that everybody is, even before I could even get it out, are ready to help plan for next year. So it is going to end up being an annual event. I've already emailed Kevin requesting our date. So hopefully going forward, it will be the first weekend of November every year. That's what I'm trying to get it on the books for. But because it's a good time of year for us here. I mean, as you can see, I mean, we couldn't have had, more beautiful weather. It was just, it was an experience. And I mean, I'm glad that it was over with when it was over, but it took me days to come down from that. That's why I needed to go on that cruise. And I did sleep more on the cruise than I probably have slept in the 4 months prior to the walk and Art for Hope. But everybody was just amazing. So yeah, we're already starting to plan on things for next year. Friends, are stepping up, the volunteers, and bringing ideas to us, and it's crazy. It's crazy good, So, and we were talking about it last night at Rotary, because one of the gals or a couple of the gals have contacts, need to be put in contact with somebody with Parks and Rec in Hernando County, because Hernando has never had a walk ever, and for our cause, I should say. And a couple of the people in our support group in Spring Hill have recently asked about, having a walk there, which we've already had in the works. It kind of was a part of this year's unwritten, I guess, strategic plan for the foundation. So we're going to be working on that like immediately also. And hopefully if we can get a walk for them scheduled late October, and then we'll have the Pasco one the first weekend of November. It's wanted and needed up there just as bad as it is here. So I know we had over 100 people at this walk, and everybody, I think that was pretty good for our first walk, and plus for the fact that we only had like 2 months that we could actively promote it. So next year we'll be able to have we'll have more time, as if we can get it on the books. He said, well, we can have our set meeting about 6 months out. So hopefully we could start promoting it about 6 months out. But we'll be working on both fundraisers, because we've got Art for Hope, which is September 10th, which is actually International Suicide Prevention Day. It's the first year that fundraiser falls on that day. And then in November, the walk. And I started to tell you about my friends from Rotary, Becky and Carol. So I was standing on the steps of the amphitheater, and I see Becky and Carol walking the walk route. But Carol has a walker because she had some medical issues recently, and she's only been out of the hospital like a month. And I actually thought, because that direction was taking them like towards the parking lot. So I thought that, they were going to leave. And they had been there for quite a while. And I thought, that's good. So all the walkers came back into where the amphitheater area is, like where you saw the picture of all of us. And we had, we were getting ready for a gift basket raffle. And Becky comes up to me, and I was like, I thought you were leaving. And she's like, how long was that walk? And I was like, well, one of my runner friends said it was about 3/4 of a mile. And she says, Mom walked the whole thing. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That is just so amazing. And she did. She walked the whole thing. They came in last, but it's not a race. So it was just really cool. It was amazing. I was so thrilled. Nothing is going to keep that woman down. So the gift basket raffle was really cool. But there was something else that happened, and I don't have any videos of it or any pictures, because it was of this, it is this little girl, and she was probably about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. And she had these colorful, like, kind of like sweat pajamas on, and a tutu, pink tutu. And she was just so cute. And our DJ was playing music, the whole time while the walkers were out. And this little girl, and her parents were there. I didn't see him like initially, but Cindy was playing, I'm not for sure, but I think it's Megan Trainor, and if it is, it's the first time I've remembered this properly. She has that song Stronger, and this little girl was dancing like there was no tomorrow to this song. And dancing, she could hit every beat. It was so adorable. And she did it with for a few songs, but that's when I initially noticed her. And it was just so cool. It was just adorable. It just, it was a lot of little things really made that day. But like, if John could put up the picture of all of us on the stage there, this is, I can't remember that one there. Yeah. Right there saying, thankful, blessed, and grateful. A lot of people will say that, you're grateful, you got to be grateful, or, blah, blah, blah. And this really, in the last coming up on 10 years, even though, I mean, my Art for Hope is always great, and I do always feel blessed. Um, even though all this stuff is a lot of work. That's the little girl. But she was dancing. It was a green tutu. She had a pink top. She was just so cute. But truly being grateful for what happened that day. Uh, it, it was seriously was probably one of the first times that it really hit deep. So you can't, and it just goes to show you can have joy and be grateful even though you may still be carrying that grief with you. Because for me, I don't think it's never going to go away. It may be a little quieter sometimes, but you can feel it. And when you do, it really is truly amazing. And it's all because of all those people there, my volunteers, the sponsors, the walkers. I mean, sometimes there's just no words. So when this shows this Saturday, the 22nd, is Survivors of Suicide Lost Day. Just remember those people. Be gracious towards them. We're all just kind of sometimes fighting a battle to survive. But with help and support like we try and do, we can make it through this, and we can try and help make this world a better place. Remember to have these numbers in your phone. You just don't know when you could be the one that might help someone. We're going to continue to educate so people feel more comfortable, bring more awareness, so people aren't afraid to talk about it. Please, it is so important. It's the silence that kills. Talking saves lives, truly. Be that little piece of hope for somebody. It's really not that scary. There is always hope. There truly is. Thank you.